Listen what your heart say. It's another heartbreak. Listen what your heart say. It's another heartbreak. Listen what your heart say. It's another heartbreak. Listen what your heart say. Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
Alright, so we are sitting in what is known as an H130 T2. It is the latest edition in the light helicopter passenger transport range. A beautiful helicopter to fly. I'll just give you a basic rundown on the control instruments, namely your cyclic, which sits in the middle here. I'll relate it to a car. So what the cyclic basically is your steering wheel. So if you go left, the helicopter is going to start turning left. If you go right, it's going to go right. If you pull back, it's going to start going backwards and climb. If you go forward, you're going to gain speed and you're obviously going to move forward. From the cyclic, we move down onto what is referred to as the collective. Okay, the collective basically relates to your handbrake. However, on a car, handbrake is to stop the car. When you pull this up, the helicopter is going to go up. If you push it down, it goes down. What basically happens is it changes the pitch on the blades collectively, and that is what either makes you go up or comes down. And then this is your throttle. Your throttle, all you do on this one is you just open it to flight, and then you've got idle. So once you start the machine, you leave it on idle, and then once you're ready to fly, you crack it to flight. And then to see if it is at full RPM, you come up to your NR gauge. That gives you your rotor RPM, and then that's how you'll know that you are at full RPM and ready for flight. Then the last thing on the control instruments is your pedals. You look off to your right. The pedals, that controls your tail. So if we are facing forward and we want to stay on the same spot, but we want to face to the left, we are then going to push the left pedal, and we are going to rotate on the spot. So basically relate that, if you go left, right, the tail of the helicopter wags like a dog's tail. Alright, so then that's the control instruments, the three basic controls on how to make the helicopter fly. Then the next thing quickly is your avionics. So if we turn the battery on, we'll see everything begins to power up. You've got your two screens known as your VEMD. And then that goes through a couple of tests, and then you come to the left hand side. These are all your warning lights. So certain warning lights must be on before you start. Once you do start, the warning lights do go out. You come up here, you can test the warning lights, push that. Your screens both need to be the same colors, all need to be the same numbers. All the warning lights come on, and that's how you know that all of them are working. Alright, so then there you go, your screens are alive. Basically what this screen now gives you is three engine parameters. On the top screen it gives you your turbine outlet temperature, so that is the temperature of the turbine. Then you come down, it gives you your torque. The torque is how much power you are pulling once you raise your collective. And then your N1, that is the gas producer, so that is how much power the turbine is producing. Then you come down, it just gives you oil temperature and pressure, and then that gives you your battery voltage. And then with this, what's nice with this machine as well, it gives you your fuel quantity, which all machines do. It gives you your outside air temperature. Then it gives you your fuel flow, so how much fuel you are using per hour, and then it also gives you how much fuel you have till you are empty. Right, so then if we come down, once again, we just have more buttons. It's just fuel pumps and stabilization systems. And this machine also has a very nice GPS system. Basically activate it. And then what we use this system for is the radios. So you have COM 1, and then you have a COM standby. So 1258 is what we usually speak on. And then you also have a transponder, and then what the transponder does is that puts you on the radar screens at Cape Town International Airport, so people basically know where you are. So basically for us, the only thing we use the GPS for is location, so where you are, and then that map moves continually when you are flying. Alright, so then that is your avionics. Then you've got a whole bunch of circuit breakers down here. Before your flight, you want to make sure that all the circuit breakers are in. If one of these circuit breakers is popped, one of the instruments is going to fail. Alright, so coming up onto your other instruments, just a basic rundown of what we do use and your most essential ones. First things first is your altimeter. Altimeter gives you the height above sea level, what we use. You turn this knob, it increases or decreases the altitude. So basically today we are sitting at basically, what is that, 100 foot under sea level. Alright, then you come across, you have your artificial horizon. Because we fly visual rules, we do not need an artificial horizon, but it's always nice to know how your helicopter is in relation to the horizon. Then the next thing we've got is your airspeed indicator. Your airspeed indicator is read in knots. So as you push the cyclic forward, you'll see the needle begins to increase, and then it goes all the way to 150. Alright, and then what we usually cruise at is about 110 and 120 knots. Okay, next thing, turn and slip indicator. Again, your turn and slip indicator we don't really use as we are flying visual, but it is always nice to have it as it shows you if the aircraft is in balance. So the ball usually must sit in between the two black lines, and if the ball is to the left, you step on the ball and then it'll slide back into the middle, and then that means the helicopter is flying in balance. Alright, clock. Everybody knows what a clock does. Okay, the next instrument, which is also essential to us, is the VSI, or the vertical speed indicator. So what the VSI indicates to us is how quick we are climbing or how fast we are descending. So when we want to take off, we pull the collective, and then as we pull the collective, you'll see your VSI will begin to increase. What we usually climb out at is 1,500 foot a minute at 60 knots. And then when it is sitting like it is today, we don't have a climb or a descent, so we are perfectly level. Okay, and then that's basically that. Everything which relates to the sorts of flying which we do on a daily basis. Alright.
Yeah, sometimes I look up at the sky, I realize, yeah,